broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar this week. My name is Tanya, and I handle the marketing efforts over here at Struxoft Solutions. So just for those of you who are new with us today, our Star Solution MWF, or Metal Wood Framer, is our automated Revit wall, floor, ceiling, and truss framing software for like-H steel and also wood modeling. So today's webinar will be short but sweet. Our technician Thais will be walking you through new options available in the MEP Clash tool for walls and floors. You'll learn how to use the new sheathing cut option, when to change the hole alignment, how to use MEP Clash for floor panels, and more. Just before we get going, I'd like to remind everyone that at the end of the webinar, we'll be taking a couple of questions that have been submitted through the chat. You can submit questions by going to the questions tab of the GoToWebinar dashboard. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to hand off to Thais now.
Thank you, Tanya. And hi, everyone. Hope you guys are doing okay. So as Tanya mentioned, today we're going to see some new options that we have within the MEP Clash tool. So just before we start, let's just quickly have a look at the MEP Clash whole series mapping. So this is where the main options will be. So as you can see, the dialog box is a little bit different. This was changed, I believe, not this build that we have currently, but the last one. So now we have here under valid categories, we have some new options. If we scroll down here, you're gonna see that now we support MEP fabrication pipework and also ductwork. So we have these two main categories that are now available. Here it will remain the same. We have the family type, and then we have two separate columns. One is for the walls, and the other one is for floors. So this will be the main change. Basically, now the user will be able to to Clash and use the MEP Clash tool for both walls and floors in one shot. So in case, for example, and of course, you can still do just for walls. In case you want to clash your MEP elements only for your wall panels, you can do that. You can do for both of them at the same time. Or in case you're just dealing with floors in your project, what you can do is just use the floors column here. So the only thing to note, if you have only floors in your project, that's the only thing that you're dealing with, is just to remember to go back to the wall menu, because this is where it's going to be, the MEP Clash for floors. So we have these two columns here where you can assign your whole series. And then we have this new option here, the cut sheathing. So in case you have elements that are punching through your sheathing, and it could be either for your floors or walls again. Let's say, like, for example, if we have a pipe and it's punching through any of these sheathings on your project, you can just check off this option. And for this option, you won't be assigning a whole type. You will be actually considering the geometry of the element. So for example, if you have a pipe there, it's just going to punch a hole in the same size, the same diameter as your pipe. You can control the shape. So again, if it's a pipe, you can set it to round, so it will be exactly the diameter of your pipe. If it's something, for example, an outlet, you can set it to rectangle, and it will punch a rectangle hole. You can set and do some changes here for the tolerance. So in case you need your hole to be, the cut on your sheathing to be a little bit bigger, you can set up a tolerance here. And then we have the hole alignment. So we're gonna see, I'm gonna run the tool twice, one with considering the MEP center, and then the second option will be the framing center. So basically, the MEP center will refer to the actual MEP element. So it will punch exactly where your MEP element is. So again, if it's a pipe, if it's a little bit off center in your panel, it's going to punch exactly where it is. Let's say, for example, in case this was, let's say, a mistake, maybe it was a little bit off center, but it would be too much work to move things around. So you can choose the second option here, framing center. When you're using this option, if you have the pipes a little bit off center, but you still want to punch your holes exactly in the center of your studs or joists or tracks, you can use this guy here and it will punch always in the center, even if the element itself is not exactly in the center. Okay, so this is just a quick look here before we start. So I'm just gonna hit cancel. And then we're gonna go over the process from the start. So I'm gonna come back here to my floor module, because the first thing that you want to check is if you have hole types created for your floors and walls. And even though the option to punch the floors, use the MEP, it's in the walls module, you still have to set up your hole types for your floors in the floor menu. Okay, so we're gonna come here to tools, project hole series. I already have one here, but you can quick create and create a new one. Let's say I wanted a rectangular right now and click OK. So you can set up the width and height here. This is all the same. It remains the same as before. So I'm just gonna click OK. And now I'm gonna move back to my wall menu. So I'm just gonna check again for my walls now if they have the hole types that I need. You can come here, select a panel and come here to tools. And then you can come here to edit hole series. So you will be redirected to the hole type menu. This is the same option that we have inside properties. So I already have one here. So let's just use this guy. But again, if you need, you can always create new ones. Okay, so everything is good here. I'm gonna click escape. And before we start setting up our MEP Clash definitions, let's just take a look at what we have here. So we have pipes going through our wall panel and also my floor panel here. If we zoom in a little bit, we're gonna see that we have a pipe here that is clashing with my sheathing for my floor and also my track here. So we would want to punch both the floor sheathing and the track, the wall track here. We also have an outlet. And again, my walls, they are multi-layer panels. They have sheathing on them. So it's clashing with my sheathing right now. And I also added some lighting switches. So it's also, again, clashing with the sheathing here for my panel 150 here. Okay, so those are my elements. What we can do now is go here to interference tool. And we first have to set up our definitions. So let's go there. I already have one, but let's create a new one. Give it a name. And again, this will be still the same. So this remains the same. The only difference is that we have here again under valid categories, we have the MEP fabrication pipework and ductwork. So you have these new categories that you can use. For our example here, we have electrical fixtures, so it's already checked off. We also have pipes. Let's scroll down a little bit more. I also have pipe fittings, and just in case, I am going to check this off. So let's scroll down a little bit more. And I think that's it for our clashing members here. So you're gonna see a list here of a family. So it is already checked off. Just in case, I'm gonna check off the fitting because I'm not sure if it's clashing there or not. The lighting switches, the three-way, it's already checked off, pipes, and the outlets. And again, this guy here, I'm not sure which family I'm using, so let's just keep those two selected. In the side here, it's with the structural tags. So again, this is the clashing family. So these are your MEP elements that are clashing, and this is what is clashing with. So those are the elements that we have in our panel. In case, for example, I don't want to punch my top track, I can just uncheck my top track here in the list, and then it will not punch. We have a new tag here that it was also added recently, the backing member. So in case, for example, you have a pipe punching through a backing member, you can also punch the member now. So everything is checked. I'm just gonna click OK. And OK. And now I'm gonna come here to my MEP Clash whole series mapping. So let's go there again. And again, I'm gonna have to check off, it's already there, but if it's the first time, you would have to check off your categories. So the electrical fixtures, your pipes, and I think that's it for us. Yeah. So again, you're gonna see your families here. And then it's where this is where we're gonna assign our hole types. So for the lighting switches, I'm not gonna assign any hole types. It's just, I just want to cut the sheeting. So I'm gonna select here. For our pipes, it's already there. If you click here, you're gonna have a drop down with your hole types for your walls. So this will be only for your walls. And then if you also, I'm using the same pipe family for both my walls and floors. So I want to assign my hole type also for my floors. So this list here that we see in the dropdown will be referring to the hole types that we have saved in our floors settings. So this is where you will see that I went to my floor menu and I added a new one, this guy here. So it's gonna show here in the list. But because it's also clashing with my sheeting for my floor, I also want to check off the cut sheeting option. I'm setting this to round because I want it to be round because of the pipe. It can also be rectangle, so it's not an issue. Even though the element itself it's round, you can also set it to rectangle in case you want. Added some tolerance here. And I also added tolerances for the lighting switches and for the outlets. So for the whole alignment, let's leave it to MEP Center, and we're gonna see how it looks like. So I'm just gonna click OK here. And now what you can do is just mass select everything and come here to MEP Clash. So let's select the second one, the one that we have just created. Click OK. It may take some time depending on the size of your project. For this one should be not long. It's just 2 walls and 1 floor. And then when it's done, it's going to show us a warning here saying that how many holes were punched. So I'm going to click OK here. And then if we zoom in, as you can see, it cut the sheeting around my outlet. Because I added a tolerance, as you can see, those two guys here, they would join in one big cut. So you wouldn't have to have like 2 small cuts here. You can just merge them together. That pipe here that was clashing with my bottom track. So my bottom track is punched, and also my sheeting here for my floor. And then as you can see, I added a tolerance for the sheeting, so that's why it's a little bit bigger. And then it also punched my joists for my floor. So if I go here to a top view, oops, there it is. You're gonna see that this guy here, these sets of pipes, they are a little bit off center, as I mentioned. This one is exactly in the center, but this one is not. And then as you can see, the hole was punched, but it was very close to the edge here. And then let's say it's too complicated to move stuff around in your project, so you can use the other option there for the alignment. So we can try that right now. So let's just go back here to our interference tool and to our mapping. And then here where I have my pipes, I'm going to change this to framing center. So I'm going to click OK. The rest will remain the same. I'm just going to click OK here. And I'm going to go again and select everything. In this case, I think I'm just going to select the walls. I think it will be faster. And MEP Clash. And I'm just going to select again my operation. Click OK. You're going to get a warning saying that the MEP element is clashing with the hole. This is normal because it is actually clashing. So it's just a warning for the user to be mindful when using this option. Because the hole will be in the center, but depending on the size there, the pipe will still be clashing with the hole. So that's the only reason why you would get this warning. So as you can see here, it says that MEP component clashes with applied penetration. And then if we go to the top view again, you're going to see that now it's punched in my center, even though the pipe is not in the center exactly. So this will be just a way to fix easily in case your pipes are not exactly in the center. Okay, I think that's it. So let's go back to Tanya, see if we have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Thais. So as she just mentioned, we have a couple minutes to answer a few questions. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and type into the questions tab of the GoToWebinar dashboard. And just while we wait for any questions to come through, I'd just like to remind everyone that the recording of the presentation will be sent through shortly. As always, please feel free to share this recording with any colleagues. And if you'd like to set up a one-on-one demonstration, or if you have any follow-up questions, we highly encourage you to reach out to our team. Our contact details will be provided along with the recording. All right, so I'm just going to take a look to see if there's any questions that came through. All right. Thais, one of the questions that came through, does MEP Clash work with linked files?
Yes, it works. It works with linked files. You just have to be careful to if it's going, if it was like converted to something else, just to make sure if the linked file is okay, and if you can actually tab between members and select one member just to see if everything is good. But yes, it works with linked files.
Okay, great. We also had another question. Will the cut sheathing option work with any type of Revit family?
So it has to be in the same category. So as long as it's in the valid categories, the family is within the valid category, then it will work. And this is not only for the sheathing cut option, but for all of them. So let's just go back here to the definitions. So as long as the families are within these categories, it will be recognized by the tool. And one thing that you can do in case it's not, for example, when I added the lighting switches here, they weren't actually electrical fixtures, they were lighting fixtures. So what you can do is change the category in the family. Again, it's important to be mindful when you do that, because in case you have filters, it will, change your filters as well, in case you have your electrical fixture showing up but not your lighting fixtures, or vice versa. So just be mindful in case you're using filters. But you can come here and change, before it was set up to lighting fixtures, so I just changed it to electrical fixtures. So then it will be a category that is recognized, and then it will punch correctly.
Okay,
And that's
awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Thais. So that looks like that's a wrap for today. For any other questions that have been submitted through the chat, we'll make sure to get to them as soon as possible by email. All right, we'll now be ending the webinar. Just want to say thank you to Thais, and also thank you to everyone who registered. And as I mentioned before, if you have any follow-up questions after the session has closed, please feel free to email us. Our contact details will be provided with the recording. All right, well, have a great day.
Thank you, Tanya. Have a nice day, everyone.